I need to ask
Go for
a
it.
very basic question that I
Yeah,
can't believe is about to come out of my mouth.
Oh gosh, I can't wait.
I'm excited.
Um,
Let's help educate the world. Come on,
I
Jeremy,
love
I'm
it.
ready for it.
for those of us not in the know, the whole lactation process to keep it, to do it the right way, and like how often does a woman have to pump, and how much will she typically pump at once, and how long can it stay good if stored properly outside the body?
I love that question. That is a question that every new mom has, and so few of us get actual answers. And Dr. Google can be a very dangerous and scary place. So this is
Yeah,
so
I
it's
bet.
the best question ever, Jeremy. Um, so we have a bunch of information that we can provide to you. So it goes into the notes if you have notes on the podcast. But
Mhm.
the general rule, and a lot of it is rules, Jeremy, so crazy, but rules that were formed 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago that aren't based on any research whatsoever. So interesting. Dr. Hind has an actual TED talk on this subject where she talks about how there is more research on the value of eating tomatoes, drinking red wine, or erectile dysfunction, like any one of those, like individually, than all of the world's research on breastfeeding and breast milk put together. Like
Wow.
any one of those has more research articles, more publications than all of the research on breast milk, period. And that's every human being's first food, at
That's
least hopefully,
bonkers. I say
right?
that a lot on this show.
Bonkers.
Yeah,
Bonkers.
bonkers. That's a good
Like,
word
let
for
me
it.
pick my jaw up off the floor. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I have other words, but bonkers is a really good one.
I'm sure you do.
So what she talked, I mean, what changed is during COVID. I mean, a lot of the concern around how do we keep infants safe? Does COVID pass through breast milk? All of those questions helped us get more research about breast milk overall. But what's incredible about breast milk is it's not like regular food. So regular food handling rules were applied to breast milk without any research to support it. So there was a lot of conflicting information about whether or not you could add newly expressed breast milk to already chilled breast milk because you were going to bring the temperature up. And then that would be like, having a dead piece of animal flesh like chicken or steak on your counter, and you run it under hot water, and then you set it back on the counter, and then you put it in the fridge, and then you put it in a pan. It's like, are you going to serve that to your family? Probably not.
Oh,
It's
No.
not good.
that's
But with
interesting.
breast milk, it's live cells. Live cells. It's antimicrobial and antibacterial, and it's amazing to watch those cells attack bad bacteria. So,
Hmm.
breast milk is actually constantly working to keep it self safe for infant consumption, and then goes into the baby's gut and populates it with good bacteria, with good like flora, or however the doctors
Hmm.
would say it. You guys probably know better.
Gut
But
flora. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but that is what actually helps create the barrier in the baby's gut to allow them to digest things. It's breast milk is incredible. So in the US, like it's kind of like refrigerating eggs and everything. In the US, we have lots of food handling rules. In the rest of the world, I mean, in different countries, they'll leave breast milk out all day, nobody dies. In the US, the rule is 4 to 6 hours. It can sit at room temperature, and then it needs to be brought down to a refrigerated temperature and can go up to 59 degrees for 24 hours after it's been expressed, because newly expressed breast milk has all those live cells. But over the course of days, the cells start to die. It still has incredible nutritional value, but it's not actively fighting bacteria the same way. So, this was a really long answer to your question, but it was such a good question. So,
I'm
4 to 6,
captivated. I'm
yeah,
learning
oh,
because now
good.
I'm like, what about freezing breast milk? And
Yes,
I
yes,
gotta, okay,
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm gonna share
yeah.
a story here in a little bit.
Okay, so freezing breast milk, totally fine. You
Yeah.
do lose some of those awesome live cells. Some of the nutritional value starts to deplete over a period of time, as with any food. It's similar to food in that way. So the rule for freezing breast milk is 6 months to a year. Still
Oh,
more
okay.
research has to be done on that, but freezing breast milk, so it can last 4 to 6 hours at room temperature, can be
Hmm.
kept cold up to 59 degrees for 24 hours. Then it can be refrigerated for 4 days. And then it should be frozen or fed within those 4 days. And it can be frozen for 6 months to a year.
That's the timeline. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can thaw it out and it still has all those properties. Like it doesn't
It doesn't have all of them, but it has a lot of them. And it is still superior to formula, depending on who you ask. Probably not formula manufacturers, but other researchers and pediatricians and lactation consultants would tell you that a year-old frozen breast milk, there's still nothing like it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share, it is tailored to the baby based on what is going on, based on the baby's age, based on the baby's sex, based on the time of day. So there is an interaction between the mom and the baby. So saliva on the breast, and then mom always like kissing baby and like breathing the baby's essence in. That mom's mammary glands are formulating breast milk specific for that infant on that day. So if the baby's sick, or if mom's gotten sick, if mom's been exposed to the flu or to a cold, her body starts to create antibodies that it is putting in the breast milk to feed that baby at that time, to protect that baby or nourish that baby based on what it needs at that age, at that time of day, in that environment. So a mother's milk at 3 months is different than at 6 months, is different than at a year. And a mother's milk in Nigeria is different than a mother's milk in the Netherlands, is different than a mother's milk in Thailand. And that baby's needs, and you can see the color change. So like some milk, like for a baby that is a year old and is getting a lot of its nutrients from steak or whatever, because they can actually consume food, that milk is going to look a little more blue, a little more watery, because it doesn't have to be as nutrient dense. Whereas like in the first hours of life, there's colostrum, and it's this bright, almost like gold orange color, like a deep, deep yellow. And then it becomes like more of a golden, paler yellow. But sometimes when babies are sick, it's this green, or it's like different colors. And it's because it's got a bunch more antibodies in it. It has different cells were activated. So it's just the coolest.
Jeremy, did you realize you were going to get educated on breast milk today?
I did not know that breast milk came with real-time updates.
Yeah, I know,
did
right?
not know that.
And it has more melatonin at night than it does during the day.
I didn't know this either.
That detailed. I figured it was kind of, a little different for each person and whatnot, but to that fine of a detail, that's wild.
Okay.
But so there's no real, the beginning of your answer, I think, was so there's no real data on how often you should pump and how much you should pump and stuff like that?
So there is. Sorry, I skipped that part of the question because of all this other wisdom knowledge I was dropping. So that question is a great one. It is key to speak to a lactation consultant. Some moms never pump a day in their life. They just breastfeed their baby, just nurses at the breast. They never pump. Some moms pump exclusively. And they pump because there's an anatomical challenge, like their baby isn't able to nurse. Maybe they have a cleft palate, or they have a tongue tie, or the mom has inverted nipples, or like too fast of a letdown, all of this stuff that we can go into detail about, but don't have to. There's an anatomical reason that makes breast, like feeding at the breast, a problem. Sometimes moms just choose it. They are what they call touched out, like they don't want a baby at their breast, or like they've endured sexual assault, like any number of things, and they're like, you know what, I want to pump, I want to extract the milk, or they want dad to help, like they want their partner to be able to like bottle feed. So some moms exclusively pump, they never nurse, but both are equally amazing. I think people that exclusively pump are saints. But if you are breastfeeding and pumping and like you're going back to work, it's good to have a schedule that you work out either with Dr. Google's situation, and we have blogs about it that have information from internationally accredited lactation consultants. But usually extracting milk, especially in the beginning, at least every couple hours, if not sooner, for at least 30 minutes is key, because if you're not extracting milk, your body gets the impression that the baby doesn't need it, it's fine. so you can decrease your supply. So what happens is moms go back to work or they travel away from the baby. They don't pump enough. They're not extracting milk because they're busy. They're stressed out. They can't find the time. And so they're not extracting milk. So their supply goes down. So then even when they go back to their baby, now they're not making enough because their body was told, oh, we're good. Like that baby has enough. And so now you have like another hill to climb to try to get your supply back. So you do that by pumping more often, which is its own headache, its own hell.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And the more you know, Jeremy.
I know
Exactly.
more.
You do.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I need to, okay. So I'm going to share my story here just because I think it's relevant.
Please.
I have two kids. My oldest is 16. My youngest is 11. And so I had right before I got pregnant with Zane, my oldest, I had a lot of infertility issues and I actually didn't think I was ever going to get pregnant. But I also needed to have a pretty important surgery. It was a breast reduction surgery. And so I remember going to see my plastic surgeon. He's like, are you going to have children? Are you going to breastfeed? I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get pregnant. So let's just do it. And like 6 months later, I got pregnant.
Yeah.
And so with Zane, I didn't breastfeed because the milk ducts were actually severed.
Oh.
And yeah, and they had told me, they said, this is pretty permanent. So even if you try to breastfeed, if you ever get pregnant and have a baby, you're gonna have a really hard time. And so I thought, I'm going back to work. I can't deal with the challenge of, you know, doing that, right? Like trying to breastfeed against kind of odds. So I just bottle fed. Fast forward to when
with formula, not with
with
donor
formula.
milk or anything. Yeah.
With
And that's
formula.
the other thing. So somebody didn't want to deal with your problem and then they didn't want to tell you about donor milk, but that's a whole other
I
me
have
being
good
angry
news.
at the world. Okay, good.
I have good news. So, and I wasn't that educated, quite honestly, at that point. I would have 100% went the donor milk route at that point, but like
I didn't know it existed either.
I didn't know. Would have done it in a heartbeat. So I did formula. So then, 5 years later, I have my youngest, Van, and there's kind of a little bit of a sad part in this, but then it's happy. A girlfriend of mine was also pregnant at the same time. We had our children about a month apart. And unfortunately, her son had a brain tumor, and so he had to start going through chemo. She was a avid like breastfeeder as a mom with her first child, like breastfed till she was like 3, like quite a ways. And so she wanted to keep pumping because she had to feed him with the bottle while he was going through chemo.
Yeah.
And so she donated breast milk to me.
Wow.
And so Van actually ended up getting kind of half and half. It was about 70-30 because she couldn't give me all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would go to her house once a week and she would put it in a cooler, the frozen milk, and we'd chit chat, whatever. And and I'd leave with my frozen breast milk and I bring it home and then we would defrost it like you would, like heat it up basically. And so he ended up getting a lot of her breast milk. So which was amazing. And
huge.
I have thought about, wow, this would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Ceres Chill would have been so great in 2000. What year was he born? 2004. Well, 13, 14. So
yeah.
And by the way, too, my friend, her son, he is tumor free. By the way, he is.
Oh my gosh, that's what I wanted to ask. I was hoping you would tell us.
I was so sad there for a minute.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Jeremy was worried with me. That's a great story.
I really was.
I truthfully, we're not really in touch anymore. She moved and across the country. We kind of lost track of one another, but I do know at least though that they are a healthy family.
I love a happy ending.
Yeah, yes. And I got the liquid gold, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or he got the liquid gold. So I feel like Zane got a little shafted on that one.
And
but
in real life, you went through the process we just talked about. With
I did.
The whole freezing of it and different options of how to use it. And there you go.
So yeah,
I love that.
This has been a Shut Up production.